What happened when the main character of story dies and then side character have to step in? Subscribe to Manhwa Outrage. Chronicles of the World of Seven Hues starts with this high school kid from Earth, Lee Gunwong, who totally gets ice-skied. He ends up reincarnated as a hero named Abel and, get this, he actually saves the world from destruction. Apparently, the power scaling in this series is absolutely bonkers. Then, we see these crazy waifus who just, on a whim, try to kill the main character. And if that wasn't enough, there are these secret organizations popping up out of nowhere, all trying to destroy the world. Lee Gunwong How was a high schooler. He admits he was one of the few readers who actually enjoyed this shitty plot, then poses the big question, what if they woke up in that crazy world? Would they still be laughing? Next thing you know, he's in the thick of it, being called Lu Dian, and Soretos. He's like, I'm on the way, but it's clearly a disaster. He gets absolutely hammered, thinking he's going to be squished like a tomato. Seriously, he thinks, those ungrateful ***KS, even though he did his job. People are yelling about blades, and it's just pure chaos. Despite the chaos, he's grateful for their hard work. Oddly enough, he wakes up, and it's been 3 years since he's been in this body. He realized he's a 14-year-old orphan surrounded by foreigners he's never met. The only good thing is he inherited the memories of Lu Dian, the original owner of the body. He spent a month trying to get back to Korea, doing everything he could, but quickly realized it was a total waste of time. This heir to Margrave Iskar, Colin von Iskar, is leading them, and our narrator calls him the head of the cheer squad. I mean, Lu Dian's master. Colin's blood pressure apparently rises by 50 points. Just like that, our guy is seriously not happy, sniffing about how he'd be happy if he'd reincarnated into something like, I became the whatever bastard of the something something family instead of the Seven Hue Chronicle. He then gets absolutely rocked, screaming Kwaya. The world has apparently been prophesied to end 3 times already, and these random enemies just show up, easily capable of destroying a city or even a whole nation. He finds himself in a dungeon, wondering how he ended up there again, while monsters are everywhere. He gets smacked by Countess Louisa of the Iskar family, who is furious because he hired commoners to prevent problems like this. She threatens him if he gets in Colin's way. Our narrator thinks about just giving up and killing Colin, who is the eldest son of Count Iskar and a well-known hooligan. The troubles just keep piling up. Letters arrive about stolen horses and a lord demanding the return of a family heirloom sword. Colin tells him to just take care of it. But then Colin hears about his contact with black market dealers, and our narrator is like, wait, what? He thinks, shit, I'm cooked, and wonders if the count caught on. This is the 5th time this month. Colin is annoyed that he got into trouble while Colin was gone for a few minutes. Our narrator is complaining, just why are you doing this to me? And says Colin hangs out with the literal cancer of the empire. The real problem is that Colin was seen by other nobles at the castle, and the news is spreading to the capital. Colin tries to brush it off, saying he was uncovering their main operation. But recently, illegal slavery, drugs, and loan sharking have been rampant near the border, and the central government is demanding strict oversight. The Count had dismissed central interface. But now, with Colin creating a scandal, they'll pounce on this chance and start interfering with everything. Our narrator is in despair, realizing that if things go wrong with Colin, he's probably cut down too. This crisis was supposed to happen much later in the main story. He thinks there's only one way to get through this. He enters a room, and Colin, looking surprised, says, "You've arrived?" Then, a new character shows up, declaring he's going to expose every last bit of that bastard's delinquency to the Count. Guy, Rickard von Iskar, a Margrave and Lord of Iskar, looking pretty rough, and Captain Derek Wanhausen from the Lionheart's Private Night Order is telling him he's going through a lot. Rickard thanks Derek for always understanding, but then admits he made a big mistake. Derek explains that the damn bastard caused trouble, and Rickard feels he should have handled it better. Then, someone mentions hearing from the head butler that he caused quite the incident. The conversation quickly escalates with the question of whether he knows who he contacted, and the revelation that it was one of the organizations the imperial family's 5 major night orders personally moved to eliminate. This really freaks him out, realizing things got bigger than I thought, and the scale of the people he contacted was beyond my imagination. The Iskar family now owes the imperial family a big one. His father, seeing the gravity of the situation, tells Caline to prepare to enter the monastery for at least 5 years of reflection. Caline is, understandably, not happy about this. He's thinking about how the main story of Chil Se-yun starts in about 5 years, and by then the continent will be engulfed in war, leading to a miserable future for him. He desperately tries to convince his father he'll achieve enough merit to offset the failure and elevate the family's name, but his father says it won't stop the imperial family's intervention unless it's an extraordinary achievement. Then, something clicks, and he shouts, "The Holy Sword Daylight!" His father is shocked, as apparently, that dungeon's difficulty is impossible for someone at his level. Everyone is worried he wants to die early? He explains that if they retrieve Daylight, the holy sword of the Duke Delphi 1 family, they'll surely get the Duke's support. The other guy, Ludian, thinks Caline is desperately trying to twist things to survive. He also points out that there's no way underworld scum would come all the way here just to explore a dungeon. We learn about the Belly of Apophis episode from Ilero, a dungeon where the evil god Apophis is sealed and heretics plotting his resurrection appear. An army of 100,000 was gathered to subjugate them. This army only ended up filling Apophis's stomach, leading to the understanding of the madness of dungeon. After that, reconnaissance teams were sent in before entering dungeons. Ludian shakes his head, saying there's no way the Count will accept that. Caline insists he will definitely succeed in the dungeon whose difficulty hasn't been confirmed, begging his father to believe in him. His father initially hesitates, acknowledging the risk of losing the entire force, including Caline. But then, almost surprisingly, he says, "Very well, I will trust you just this once," and assigns 30 knights, including Derek, to him. He makes it clear that since Caline guaranteed it so strongly, he must retrieve Daylight. Ludian is distraught, seeing it as a disaster, but Caline's father tells Ludian to take good care of Caline, believing his son will not disappoint your father. Caline then vows to return with the holy sword, prompting his father to exclaim, "That's my boy." Then, suddenly, everything shifts. Caline realizes he's really fucked. They're immediately hit with monsters, and a minotaur right from the start. Derek notes how harsh the deepest part must be if this is the beginning. He tells Caline they can only entrust our fate to the gods. Caline, however, seems somewhat relieved that it's not at the level that would appear in the main story of Chilseyun, where high-ranking demons or ancient weapons would usually appear. He notes that if a common monster like a minotaur appears, the dungeon is at least within the realm of common sense. They decide to move forward. Caline then starts thinking about his own future. He remembers that in 3 years, demon-led war will ravage the continent and humanity faces extinction in 10. He decides to get rich and hide in the mountains. He declares he'll make his own happy ending. Things seem to go well, and he believes they'll retrieve Daylight and find riches. Caline is warned not to speak too loudly, but he brushes it off, saying he's not afraid only to be interrupted by a sudden impact. A powerful force strikes the group. Derek curses. They realize it's a trap. The order is given to run and break through with force. Squad 1 is told to push back the golems, while the rest are ordered to protect the young lord. Someone cries "Aya," and "Help me," as golems attack. A knight shouts "Young master," and tells him, "This way." Caline is surprised to see the golems coming towards them. Derek yells "Young master," as while he also strikes golem. But one of the golem went stray. The young master cries "What?" as he sees the attack. He then calls out desperately, "Ludian," and "Help." As a colossal golem's arm descended, the young master tackled his comrade to safety, both hitting the ground as debris showered around them. As they fell, the young master grimly thought, "Ultimately, I'm just this guy's attendant. If he dies, I die too." An explosion of force erupted as the knight directly intercepted an attack. Ludian was thrown through the air, blood streaking from his injuries, his body twisting in mid-flight. He wore a stunned, speechless expression as the golem's powerful blow sent him soaring. The protagonist stumbles into a surreal, crystalline sanctuary bathed in heavenly light. The place feels too grand. He's baffled. "Where the hell is this?" he mutters, stepping cautiously on the shimmering floor. Still trying to make sense of things, he recalls his final moments before death. Somehow, his desperate prayer reached the universe, and now, tada, he's here. But the logic doesn't sit right with him. "There's no way I awakened like that," he thinks, skepticism creeping in. He jerks his body upright, testing himself. No pain, no wounds. Everything seems intact. "My body seems perfectly fine too," he observes, bewildered by the strange perfection of his condition. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoes in the void, "You've awakened." Without warning, crimson darkness erupts around him, pulsating, alive, and filled with menace. Wide shot reveals ancient pillars and cracked crystalline floors. A crimson, tentacled creature hovers mid-air. Caption: "This is the place where I am sealed. Ruins created 3,000 years ago by the now-vanished Adora civilization." Close-up on the hero's tense face, jaw clenched, sweat dripping, voiceover. "I've never heard of a civilization called Adora in the original story." His mind races, eyes narrow. The hero cracks a smirk, leaning forward eagerly. He chuckles, "So you're a being sealed in these ruins, is that it?" The protagonist smirks confidently, holding out his hand. "Can you tell me your identity?" Ominous red tentacles coil around him, creating tension. The entity reveals itself dramatically, a swirling, red tentacle being with a single glowing eye. The protagonist sweats nervously but keeps a straight face, thought bubble. "If I refuse the offer, what kind of trouble might I face?" He watches the tentacles creep ever closer. He looks up, curious but cautious. If I become the master, what benefits are there? Suddenly, a tendril impales his forehead with precision. We see a red tentacle being activating an ability. A translucent blue status window appears in front of the main character. Lu Dian looks shocked as he stares at his own stats. He reacts in disbelief at how weak his numbers are, but also surprised that he has access to a game-like interface. There are no quests like in a game system, but you can see the opponent's stats quantified based on the master's stats. Although there's a penalty where you can't see the numbers if the stats differ too greatly. Lu Dian listens intently as the creature explains how the system works. If I can't see the numbers, it means I shouldn't pick a fight, right? Just having this is a huge help for survival. Creature. Originally, this place cannot be reached by those without the qualification. Lu Dian celebrates how useful this ability is, but the entity reveals something deeper about his presence here. Lu Dian, what is that qualification? Creature, to be an outsider. That is the only one. Lu Dian is stunned by this cryptic response. The being admits even it doesn't understand the true meaning behind being an outsider. Apparently, Lu Dian's presence caused a sealed part of the creature to activate, confirming his status. The prototype, 6th generation restoration type AI Eden exists. It also means you are a being with the authority to retrieve the terminals my creators scattered. Lu Dian's eyes widen. He now holds special access to a powerful legacy. Terminals? What are those now? He's still wrapping his head around all this new information. With a confident smirk, the MC points dramatically, having seemingly accepted his strange situation. The red creature, now calmer and less menacing, addresses him warmly. I look forward to working with you, Master. The MC responds in kind, naming the creature Adi. A pact has been formed. Adi explains its current limitations. Its main body is sealed, and in this weakened state, it can't fully support him. Pumping his fist with determination, the MC says, let's figure out how to retrieve your terminals. With Adi's help, who knows all the ins and outs of the dungeon entrances, exits, traps, they begin their exploration. Adi asks what the MC plans to do next. He answers without hesitation. First, he must reunite with his companion. A flashback reveals a brutal truth. According to Adi, the MC was supposed to be slammed into the floor and die instantly. Just before impact, the entity intervened, grabbing the MC mid-fall and yanking him out of death's grip. The MC discovers a corpse in red clothing, dried up and skeletal. Not only did they break through the dungeon's core, but they reached this place? Anxious face with sweat, he realizes the corpse must be someone extremely powerful. This person was an adventurer. They must have been one of the best on the continent. Arcadia explains. It's an adventurer who invaded this place about 10 years ago. They managed to avoid the monsters above and get this far. Speech bubbled, but lacking the qualification, they couldn't open the entrance and died after struggling for a long time. MC finds a fancy pocket watch on the corpse. This pocket watch looks like it'll fetch a good price, maybe around 10 gold? He reads the name, Abel Rothstein. Seems like they were a rather wealthy adventurer. Arcadia, confused. What are you doing? Neutral face MC answers without hesitation. Collecting remains. Rather than that, didn't we agree to call this grave robbing? Grinning squinting face MC shrugs and says playfully, nope, not really. MC finds a fancy pocket watch on the corpse. This pocket watch looks like it'll fetch a good price, maybe around 10 gold? He reads the name, Abel Rothstein.